Hey everybody, welcome to the Water Tower Podcast. This is Jay Yoder, and next to me is
Mr. Nick Milan.
Mr. Nick Milan. That's nice, fancy. Please subscribe to our channel, hit the alerts if you want the alerts, and follow us on Instagram. Hit watertowerpodcast.com for all the episodes. We release usually stuff earlier on there than anything else, but YouTube and Instagram stories, check it out. But here we are on this fine day. Nick, how's it going? Nick, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Let's get into George Floyd.
George Floyd.
Let's call it the George Floyd murder. Do we go there? Do we call it that?
Fuck yeah, it's a
call
murder.
it that.
It's a fucking murder, dude.
It's a murder.
That's fucked up, Jay.
It's got, there's all the footage. In any court, it's about as good as evidence you're going to get. Multiple camera angles. I don't care if the guy is guilty, innocent, whatever. That's murder.
Right, but do you need that? Do you need all those camera angles? I mean...
You shouldn't, but it definitely helps in a court of law.
Right. Oh, well, especially in a case like this.
Yeah, I'm trying to say, I'm trying to think how good evidence could be in court. You know, there's always that angle. We need more evidence. I'm like,
right.
This is pretty damn good.
Dude, it's almost
the best.
Yeah, it's the best. Right, exactly. There's no mistaking what's going on there. And from what I heard this morning, that he's been charged with murder. So
Charged?
Yeah, he's been charged and arrested.
So they'll go to court, or is it already gone through that?
No, he's gonna have to go to court. He's gonna be in jail. Hopefully with no bail.
Oh shit! Right, that's the catch. Netflix documentary coming up.
Oh, dude,
court
for sure.
case.
Huh?
They probably won't. I bet you they won't.
Light bulb?
What?
Light bulb?
Idea? We doing it? We gonna try to sell Netflix?
Let's do it.
Netflix. We got
Big
average 30 to 40 views on our clips on Instagram.
We're making it big, Netflix. Hit us up.
If you go to YouTube, you help us out more. But no, it's crazy, man. This happens all the time. There's probably 5 or 6 cases just floating around right now. And George Floyd, I don't know much about him, but typically with these cases, I try not to get emotionally involved, even though it's very hard. And I even chose not to watch the video. One, I tried watching it. I just saw the position, and just from being around and doing jiu-jitsu, you just know that's some fucked up shit that he's got his knee on that. I mean, his neck was turned to one side. He's an older gentleman. It's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit.
Should have never even got to that point, to be honest. I mean, you watch the video. I watched it right when it came out, and of course, it's just devastating, I mean, and this is just happening all too often, and that's why we have protests now and all this jazz and that we'll get to. But, right off the bat, initially when I seen it, the officer gets into the car and he pulls him out right away. It doesn't look like there's any confrontation, but next thing you know, within a minute or so, he's on the floor, and it doesn't seem like he did anything to cause that. And
it's well, first off, it's we just kind of reviewed play by play of it, and they got called at a looked like a mini mart or some type of store of a forgery call for the police. Yep. They show up. Now, George Floyd's car is catty corner to that store across the street. I mean, the cops probably didn't even pay attention to it. And him and a passenger are sitting in there, and the police go in there. Next thing you know, they come out and they're beelining for that car. Don't know what happened inside. Cop approaches. 2 cops on each side approach both gentlemen. I won't go too much in detail, but basically they leave the passenger alone and they focus on the driver.
Right.
Wrestle him down. And it does, it seemed like he might have been resisting, but not really, not enough for this. And then they walk him across the street. And next thing you know, he's slammed on the ground. He's got 3 mofos on top of him and a 4th cop protecting them from the group of people just noticing what the fuck's going on.
Just watching.
It's sickening. And they even admitted that they saw that he might have some health issues, some distress. So why the hell you got 3 dudes on his back?
Right. Yeah, the cops knew it, so they say they
reported it.
They reported it, right, that he had health issues. But yeah, I mean, it's too much. Yeah. It's too much. Why do you need all that? First of all, this should be just a civil conversation. Did you do something wrong? Did you not? Let's get on with our day.
Yeah, and he seemed like a cool dude. He posted a video. I don't think it was too long ago. I'm not sure, but it's just him talking about. I typically like to research the dudes. Who are these guys? Are they good dudes? Did they choose a life of crime? This is just some shit that happened and there's a history with the cops. Or are they good guys? It's just some innocent shit. And I like this guy. From what I could see so far, sound like he moved there to change his life. And he him and his girlfriend kind of said that, and he posted a video of just talking to young black men, I believe, or young men in the hood general, I guess, about shooting guns and they shouldn't be doing that. Come on, fucking don't throw your life away. And he seemed like he was a guy that loved that area too. He thought it was a very friendly area, which is crazy, and really enjoyed that area just from the people and the vibes he was getting. And seemed like a guy that liked to spread positivity from what I could tell.
You know what? I didn't do any research on him personally, but does it really matter? What if, say
it matters.
Say he did have a criminal background, right?
Well, yeah.
Does that deserve to be killed?
No, and he might have a criminal background. I don't know that, but I think I like to try to get a sense of their personality.
Who they are, right? I get you.
Because it also might show you what might be going on in that conversation that we can't hear between him and the cop. Sure. But it really doesn't matter, Nick, at the end of the day. For me, personally, it matters to me because I see a lot of people crying boo-hoo when a certain mofo gets shot that we all know has a gun at every party and is a gangster and a big tough guy. And then once he's dead, his mom cries and everyone's like, whatever. So to me, it matters because I believe you choose a life and you know the consequences. But I don't think this is the case at all. I think this guy, no matter innocent, guilty, whatever, got fucking murdered by a cop.
Yeah, right. And not the first time. And unfortunately, it's not going to be the last, man. And then now you see these protests and it's so many ways to look at these protests, Jade. It's only been a matter of days. It's amazing. It's like there's already stories popping out of every freaking direction. This most recent one, that photo of that alleged officer, starting the riot, smashing windows at AutoZone.
Yeah, alleged officer walked up, I think it was an AutoZone or something, and just had an umbrella and like a mask cover, definitely like white dude, just like generic white dude, how size and everything, and just broke some windows and then booked it. I'm like, and a black kid approached him, or a young man approached him and was like, yo, what are you doing? Stop that. Because
confronting him. The
protests, honestly, are horrible because protests are reasons for anyone arguing this case to say, look what they did, or even racist, look, this is what these motherfuckers do. They burn the whole city down. They want nothing. Why do we even put targets in their neighborhood? That feeds the fire on the other side. But at the same time, Nick, you text me, you're like, I think something different's going on.
Dude, you never know what's going on. But first, protests, they do something, right? And there's always going to be opposition from each side, But yeah, it's definitely an essential part of what we have to do, and even when the Trump, well, not Trump, but the, anti virus kind of people are out campaigning and protesting at the Capitol and stuff, even though I don't agree with that, I think it's intriguing, that they can get out there and express their opinion and be together and send these messages. And so just gathering all together is so important to what we have in this country. But we don't utilize it as much as we should.
Yeah. And, I don't think I'm a white straight male,
Are you sure? I don't know about that Kill Tony episode. Might have.
Yeah, white straight male, so maybe this says something, but I've never protested, but I'm also that guy. I have football rallies, I played football, and I would always ditch them. I hated that shit. I hate the hoorah-rah groups, even with serious issues, and I feel like if there was no one protesting, then you would see me out there. I'm like, fuck, these motherfuckers need help, but I'm like, they're good. But I also just don't fucking think a protest is going to do shit, and I know that's naive and ignorant, but Che Guevara didn't fucking pick up a stick and a paper and write something cool on it and march around. No, he did not. All know, and I'm not saying what he did is right. Only history will tell down the road. He's a hero and he's a murderer at the same time. But it's, I just never feel the need. I don't want to be a part of a group because groups I've thought about joining 2 years later, I'm like, oh, I'm glad I didn't join that group. Holy crap.
Well, and how much of that can be verified? Like this particular instance with this alleged officer starting the riots, right? It was a peaceful protest until this guy started breaking windows, and then allegedly that's how it started. I have no idea.
Is that how the violence started, that guy?
Well, that's how the looting started, breaking in windows and stuff.
Yeah.
And of course you get, some people in this, kind of rage mentality, all the stuff like you mentioned earlier is going on.
Fuck the system.
Levels. Fuck the system, right? Everyone hates us. You can kind of see where that would lead to.
Yeah.
And it's kind of inevitable. But, say this video never got released of this guy. Say it's not even a cop. Who knows? Maybe it's nothing. But what if it is? And this happens multiple times. It happens all the time. We talked about it on the last podcast, I think, about officers infiltrating movements like this to create drama, to then create these movements as scapegoats to like terrorist movements. Or, you know, I remember when the Black Lives Matter movement got labeled as a terrorist group because some random guy went in and started creating violence and ended up not being part of the group at all.
Yeah, it's happened since the dawn of time when
all the time,
United States took over California, New Mexico, Texas, and whatever other states. I just heard this today. Fact check me because I just heard it on a whim and didn't have a chance to really check it. But it was like, they tried to get it, and Mexico was like, nah. And so but Mexico was like, you guys could send settlers, no charge. Like, go ahead. But that wasn't good enough. So they apparently dressed up like some Mexicans or something and started attacking soldiers, some fake. It's been the Vietnam War. It's always happened, you know.
Right.
Red flags like that. It's happened in Hong Kong with China. It's something. Yeah. Even the Boston Tea Party, they dressed up like Native Americans, you know.
Right.
It's just a situation that continues to happen, and it's a smart move if you're on a side that wants to win.
Well, and you know what? I was in an Uber car the other day, getting an Uber downtown, and the driver, you know, we were just talking about small talk, and it got to a point where it's like, yeah, well, you know, we need a movement. We need some kind of movement, you know, and we're talking about what was going on. And I, you know, I kind of thought like, it's almost too hard to create a movement nowadays because of exactly that. If you create a movement, you can easily be labeled as a bad group. And then media, social media, of course, you know, big media, they can really paint a picture and break the whole movement. So yeah, you're right. Do things change? Are things going to change? Probably not, man. But I think rioting and, you know, people are pissed about that. And although I don't agree with it, and I probably wouldn't do something like that myself, I think that, you know, hey, you need to create something for people to listen. Like, people are talking about this all over the world now.
Yeah.
And this is why.
Yeah.
Where if you were just sitting there with a couple signs, you know, it would only go so far. So,
well, and our attention span is so short these days, especially with social media and the internet being more a part of everyone's life. It's around the world. It's news is hot and new today, and tomorrow it's old news. And I think protests do keep this situation alive, where the news would just jump on the next fucking thing. Trump tweeted something, or, you know, whatever.
Right.
Fill in the blank. But so I think in that sense it's important. And I had this conversation with my girlfriend. It's like, as a white guy, what can I do? And not saying I'm going to do whatever someone tells me to do, because, like I said, if you say protest, I'll probably be like, maybe. When the numbers are low, I'll go out there. But, like, I'm not just that dude. But, like, it's like, what can I do? You're a Hispanic man. What would you say to me if I said, what could I do to be an ally? Since I was probably 22, 23, 24, I've gotten involved in reading up on these issues, and grew up in a Hispanic town, so I definitely saw different sides of things. But, like, what would you say is something that a white person could do for a person of color or minority? What could they do?
Yeah, right. I mean, that's $1 million question, you know, and it always has been. And it's for people like you that are savvy into certain issues and injustices, you feel that way, you know. And to be honest, I don't have an answer for that. You know, as a Hispanic man, I would never know what it's. I mean, we get killed as a people too. Actually, I just seen a video that came out today where this kind of Chicano gangster-looking dude got shot in his driveway and got murdered. And someone was filming it, probably his family member, from the house. So it's devastating. It really is. But it's funny that you say that, and I don't have the answer, and I don't think anybody does. But this guy I saw on Facebook today, he was a white guy, kind of a redhead dude, and he took this picture and posted on Facebook.
Redheads, the worst. Worst of the white people. Just kidding.
And so anyway, so he's driving his car. He passes a police car that pulled over a car full of young black men. And so he automatically thought, oh no, like, you know, please no, let's not something happen here. So he felt the need to stop around the corner, get off his car, go across the street, walk across the street, and stand there and just watch. Okay. And just to make sure that nothing was going to happen. He took a couple photos, but he was just standing there because he felt like, if there's anything I can do, it's at least help my brothers and sisters survive, you know, to make sure that nobody gets killed, and just to keep a watch. And it's actually a hashtag, policing the police. Yeah. Which is unfortunate, you know, but I kind of like where he was going there, right? It's like, and then he even says at the end of it, the cops like, you know, let him go, and then they look at these guys across the road, because he said by then there's like 4 or 5 people on his side of the road looking.
Yeah.
And the cops point over there and they start laughing at him and like, you know, kind of shunning him. And dude, as unfortunate as it is that we have to come to that, like maybe that's what it is. It's sticking up for people, sticking up for our brothers and sisters. And really, as someone that's a white guy like yourself, and I'm just saying this out of thought, is, you know, to explain to the people that don't have that mentality that you have, maybe family, friends, or people that you know that, you know, may be way on the other side, and just try to explain, break it down, I guess, you know, because it would be different.
Awkward Thanksgivings.
Oh, totally awkward Thanksgivings. But you know what, and I see on Twitter all the time, you know, there'll be this kind of thread of people arguing, and, you know, some white people get involved and they'll say a few things, and then, you know, then a couple like black or ladies or men or whatever get involved and say, hey, don't talk about it like you know about it, because you know nothing about it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's real, you know, and it's, even for me, it's hard to speak on something like that, but
yeah, it's real, and it gets dicey when it comes to race. And you often say,
totally,
like, you know, it's a human race, black race, white race, Mexican race. It's really
that's a made up word.
Race.
Yeah, race is actually a made up word.
Yeah, the book Sapiens talks about we make up all these issues. You know,
right.
The lion doesn't care. I probably already said this. Lion doesn't care what color you are; it's going to eat your ass. You know, you got to protect yourself. But I think, you know, you see stuff like that, and on my day to day, like if I see people in trouble, just the other day there's someone broke down in the alley, and like I usually when they have kids, especially, is when I step in. Kids or elderly people. Sure. But, you know, sometimes you just get the feeling and you do something. And it's not like I'm like, oh, they're black, let me go help them. And that's something where in San Francisco I got a little weirded out by. It was almost like treating black people a little too nicely, and a little like you could tell they were uncomfortable. And it was like,
interesting.
Dude, just fucking treat them like a normal dude. Like it's a person. Like, what the fuck? Like, you guys are supposed to be this like strict city of like on the black man's side, but you guys are almost treating them differently. Like, I don't know. It seems I got a different weird side to San Francisco.
Way like, on the other side of the spectrum.
Like, just, hey, whatever you want. Okay, gotta go by. Fuck you. You know, like, and then they like go wherever in their Beamer and drive off. You know, and the thing continues. But it is weird, and you do see like white people do that, and they're like, oh, you could do that because you're white privilege. And I'm like, don't say that. Like, because there are white people on the side of minorities, and there's a lot of white people on the fence, and there's a lot of white people on the other side of the fence. But when you say stuff like that, or you say, I heard today, you take one of ours, we're going to take 2 of yours. Mm-hmm. Now I'm a white dude. I'm like, does that mean me? Like, you don't know who I support or what I do, but like, you're going to push me to the other side of the fence, because at the end of the day, how are prisons ran, Nick? Right. Race.
Yeah. They sure are.
Black race, white race. Everyone goes into their color. Mm-hmm. And there was a story of a prison that they took it over. They got, you know, what do they call that? Where they took over a prison? I forget. Mm-hmm. Took over the prison, got all the COs out, and then, you know, the cops had to come negotiate from outside the fences.
Oh, shit.
And how did they organize inside? They organized by race. The whites got this certain area, the blacks got a certain area, the Mexicans got a certain area, you know, the others got a certain area, and they would have a leader of each, and they would come and meet and discuss about how they were going to negotiate with the outside police force. Mm. And it's like, whoa, is that like they had no rules and they still went that way? Right. Safety and your people like you, right? It's weird.
Well, and you know, it's funny that you say that, and this is a huge topic, Jay, and we can get deep into this, but this is going to be a little limb of that topic. But you know, segregation, right? And J. Cole says it in one of his songs, like, you know, maybe segregation was better. And it's like, you know, when you're around your community, you do stuff together, you build communities, you create wealth in your own communities. Yeah. And then when you need other communities, you reach out, and there's always those neighboring communities that you can reach out to, right? And even in early tribalism days, you know, you have tribes that, you know, reach out to one another. And I'm not saying that it's not good. I mean, integration is obviously, you know, bringing people together in communities, but look at that, what you said in prison, you know, these, even though they probably don't even like each other, but they're willing to work together because there's a common enemy, right? Or
but still separate.
But still separate, right?
That's exactly what the KKK says. Oh no, we just believe in segregation, you know.
Well, that's you know, equal but separate, or separate but equal, or something like that. I mean, obviously that's way you know, tipped extreme on the scale, right? But and again, I'm not saying that we should resort to that, but it's just an interesting concept.
Yeah, it's I mean, in South Africa, and I don't know if you're familiar with the townships. They had basically, like we've had segregation up until the 50s or 60s. They had it up until the early 90s, and when Nelson Mandela came in power, disrupted that. But they had these townships where they were just sending these black people. Now these are just like shacks, miles and miles of shack towns, shanty towns, and when we were over there in 2010, like we heard some people from those towns say it was better before Nelson Mandela because at least we had electricity, we had running water in this crap hole. We it just got a little worse. So in South Africa when we went there, there's people in the shanty towns that were like, Nelson Mandela, it was better before him because we had electricity here. Now we haven't for years. And I get what they're saying, but I think you really, your day-to-day you got to think about, but you also got to think about generational and like you agreeing to that electricity to a white-dominated country at that time. What does that mean for your kids, your grandkids, and da-da-da-da-da? And South Africa is pretty fucked, South Africa is nuts, but I don't think that's a reason not to do something, It's crazy. I think once different types of people mix and the generations of mixed kids come out and everyone's kind of got something in them or not one person's white or black.
Damn near mixed. There.
Damn near there. And I think that's going to be when things probably chill out. But honestly, human nature is to argue. And I assume then it's going to be light skin versus dark skin. You could go to Rwanda, wide noses versus thin nose of certain tribe. It's crazy.
Yeah, right. It totally is. And they're politically too and religiously, and there's always division. But going back to just kind of what's going on in the protest, and I hope it doesn't stop. I hope it doesn't stop. I know that there's going to be things that interfere, like this guy creating the rioting, and then basically letting people kind of continue off of that, feed off of that. But it needs to continue, and
it might have been confirmed. I'm not 100% that guy was an actual cop. His ex-wife called him out, but I don't know if that's fake news.
Yeah, right. And who knows what is real, right?
Yeah.
And I seen that too. His ex-wife called him out, said that those were her gloves and her mask and everything.
Yeah.
But then the PD, of course, came out and said, no, that's not one of our officers.
Okay.
So, obviously there's going to be some different stuff going on, but it looks like it's him. And to be honest, I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, it's hard to know what's real or not, especially when you see this deep fakes and AI and stuff, or you could literally have me talking and not be me. It's crazy.
Right. Well, and then I think we mentioned last time also, MK Ultra is a real thing, man.
Yep,
so who knows how many of these people actually know what the fuck they're even doing?
Well, I was thinking this. It's I don't think this would work, but it was an idea because I'm like, how do we fix this fucking system? Maybe there's an answer, but I was thinking, in like Hasidic Jewish communities, they have their own police and ambulance and stuff like that. Hasidic Jews are like the hardcore guys in like Harlem with the black hats and the curls, very religious, like the extreme Jewish religion. And I think in London, certain Muslim neighborhoods, they have a type of religious police too. Like if they see a girl with a short skirt, they're going to berate her and kind of scare her off. Would there be a black police force? Would that be successful, or would that just be two police forces fighting with each other, or would the government even allow it?
Who knows? I mean, again, I wouldn't know, but I would say why not try it?
Yeah, why not every time someone's pulled over, especially if it's a black male that gets pulled over, a female or a black person, and the cops have to go, okay, hold on, we got to get the black community cops to come up. Kind of like how they have a female officer usually pat down a female.
Right.
Maybe it needs to be that way. I don't think that's a clear-cut answer, but I don't know. It could be something.
Well, and trying stuff, right? I mean, just do something. And I think that's what these people want mostly is not only do they want justice, right? They want these people to be charged with what they should be charged with. They want to see something happen. They want to see change. Do something. Whatever it is. Just
same old shit ain't working.
Same old shit ain't working. And then denying and just beating around the bush and, that sort of thing. Be direct and, kind of with the whole reparations thing too. There's Tallahassee Coates. Have you ever read his?
No.
It's a good article on reparations. Yeah. So, I mean, just doing something, right? I mean, we got to try things, see if they work. I think, maybe that'll work. Maybe it wouldn't. But it does bring me to a post that a police department posted on Facebook, and it was pictures of their law enforcement. And it basically said, we can put a picture of this guy choking this man to death and say that we don't agree with it, But we'd rather you look at all these photos of our police officers doing things that don't ever get looked at, that are going overlooked every single day. And it's photos of these police officers in neighborhoods playing football with kids or you know, talking with kids in the street or whatever. And I've seen that, dude. And I've experienced stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully we don't get to a point where it just creates an even bigger divide.
Yeah, and I think that's always the goal. I always talk about this. The goal is to keep the racism alive, and the media wants us to fight with each other because if we unite, and sadly the minorities get the short end of the stick.
Right.
But like if we unite, we have to look up. And when you look up, you'll see who has the money, who has the power, and that's where the real problem is. And it's probably mostly rich white guys, but I'm telling you, a rich white guy can identify with my half brother that grew up in one of the worst trailer parks I've ever seen in Peoria, Illinois. You know. And I've been to other countries, and this is one of the worst living situations I've ever seen in my life. And with us and them and us, it's like, you know, a lot of cops have come out and said that was murder. A lot have come out.
Right, I've seen that too. And
I was watching TikTok where a cop was sitting in a parking lot late at night in a gas station, you know, on his patrol, and he's like, "Great, cops are hated again, so hope I don't get shot up tonight."
That's tough.
You know, especially when you're a good cop too. It's like,
right.
But it's a situation that, as a good cop, you need to recognize and come out and say, hey, this is wrong. This is wrong.
Well, totally. And you know, we can go deep into that too, and I'd rather not. But I did see another post on Facebook today, and it said, if you had 10 cops for 1,000, or 10 bad cops for 1,000 good cops, and the 1,000 good cops don't call out the 10 bad cops, then you have 1,010 bad cops.
Yeah, I agree, because it's also like the argument of when like September 11th happened, like, oh, fuck the Muslims and this and this. And it's like, dude, like that's extremist Muslims, just like extremist anything. But it's like, well, then why aren't the normal Muslims calling out the extremist Muslims? And which some have, and it's very more predominant now. But it's like, it does say something when someone from the own community is like, hey, no, we don't agree to this. We're not a part of this. What we do is different. This is bad.
Well, and you know what I didn't want to get into is the blue code, right? It's there, man. You know, it's there, and they got to watch out for each other. And I'm sure it's like that in the military. I wouldn't know, but I've heard and read stories about, you know, brotherhood and, you know, being there for each other no matter what. So, you know, I get it, but people are dying. You know, people are dying, and there's no code that should be that should trump that. You know.
And going out and shooting up a bunch of cops, I don't think is the answer. No, because you're going to create a bigger divide, and you're going to push people on the other side.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's just a sad situation. And man, George Floyd, shout out to that guy. And,
rest in paradise,
rest in peace, man. And it's.
You know what, I don't get the other side really. You know, and I always think that too. And I posted something on Facebook the other day, and you know, we shouldn't be like this. I mean, as humans, it's like, yeah, that guy has the same blood that I have, you know? And we should not be creating reasons why it's okay that person is dead. Yeah. You know, and in California, we don't even have the death penalty. So, like, we can't even kill people if they did a crazy crime.
That's a good point.
You know, and here's this guy that did nothing.
Yeah.
And is dead.
Yep.
It's just devastating, man.
It's a sad situation. And,
you know what I just heard on the way over here, Jay, was all the protests. There's a lot of protests going on, obviously. People are getting arrested. And Colin Kaepernick has pledged to pay for all the attorney fees for all the people who get arrested.
I bet he backs out when more and more people get arrested.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know what kind of money he has nowadays.
Doesn't have a job, does he?
He doesn't have a job.
Hey,
but
Jay-Z, step up, bro.
Good looking though. You know what? I think about that a lot too. Is like, if you know.
Well, he lost a millionaire job to do something he loved, which is the dream job.
Right.
In the NFL to stand up for stuff like this. And I know a lot of people that I'm very close with that are against him. I'm like, man, he just took a freaking knee.
Yeah.
Like, get off of him.
Right? And not only a knee, he took a knee when the world was looking. Yeah. Knowing, sacrificing his dream, like you said.
What would he be to his community if he didn't do that, you know, and just took his money and got fat and ate and did what
he would be everyone else, Jay.
Exactly.
He would be everyone else.
Exactly. So shout out to Colin Kaepernick. I like the dude.
Oh, I love Colin.
Yeah.
Dude. Hell yeah. And you know what? You see all these things on social media about him, like giving all his suits to people that need jobs in their community.
Oh, really?
Or, you know, giving shoes to kids. Emptying his closets. I mean, these are probably like $1,000 suits, you know, and just giving them to people. And actually I don't know much about him, but I know his girlfriend's real heavy into social justice. And so that's kind of what got him into it. But shout out to her and to him for sure.
Well, it's probably like, you know, I don't keep up with sports. I used to be into football and NFL a lot, and I started watching UFC, and I just kind of gave all the other sports up. But when I heard this Colin Kaepernick thing, I was in San Francisco. I was like, I gotta check this out, and I kept going. Wait, what's the problem? Wait, where's the wait? What? Wait, he took a knee? Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? And then, well, he's disrespecting the flag, which disrespects the dead soldiers. And it's like, yo, like, maybe, I don't know, like, that's a weird other angle at it. But it's also like, isn't that why people fight? Is so we could, you know, protest and have freedom of speech and stuff like that, you know? And it goes up both ways. The PC culture on the other side, you know? It's like freedom to say what you want, you know? And, yeah, I never got it.
Yeah, it was tough. And then NFL even came out with a rule saying that if you kneeled, you couldn't play or stay in the locker room or something like that. Or, I mean, it just, like, how can you do that as a league, first of all? Like,
and everyone was scared to tie their cleats after that.
Oh, that's too funny.
I'll lose my job.
Uh-huh. So, yeah, I mean, interesting take, man. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, Jay. And unfortunately, you know, and I talked about this last time. I'll talk about it again. Go to watertowerpodcast.com.
Wait, what website?
Water Tower Podcast.
That's watertowerpodcast.com.
Watertowerpodcast.com. Go to the About section and look up a show that I did with a gentleman by the name of Professor Odin. His first name, I don't know if he wants me to give that out, but his Professor Odin, former Black Panther and heavy into going door to door and you know, doing that whole movement in that whole party and getting people to vote and things like this. And you know, he says the one thing that I took away from that show was, he says, just be active, do something, whatever it is, do something. Talk to your neighbor, talk to your community.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Go door to door, do something. Just be active. Doesn't matter what you do, just do something. And it was pretty cool because I had Daniel on the show that time too, and he's talking about going to the Capitol building and protesting there. And
explain who Daniel is.
And Daniel's a buddy of mine from college, and he is, you know, kind of far left, and in that well, not really though. You know, he's kind of a rocker and a band dude, a good friend of mine, but he leans towards the Antifa lifestyle. You know, he knows some of those communities, and you know, he's not a member of Antifa, but he really follows that movement, and so he's got an interesting perspective as a very bright individual. You know, following a movement that is, you know, on an interesting teeter right now as far as what people think of them.
Yeah, Antifa, it's a group I wanted to join back in the day, and I also thought about joining the Proud Boys, which is funny. And both groups, I'm glad I didn't join years later.
Well, there you go. Now you know what they're both about. Well, I guess. I don't know. Do we?
I do.
Oh, I don't.
I don't know. I don't know everything, but from late night YouTube binges and Googling, it seems like a bunch of nonsense, and I feel bad for the Portland citizens. No matter what race they are, they're losing.
Yeah, I don't know much about it. But anyways, I mean, we're talking about just being active and, you know, going to the protests. And what this professor tells Daniel is, he says, keep doing it. You know, you're doing good. Just don't stop. Keep doing it. Because that's what happens. These movements just die out.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's always been the case, but now it's even more so, because now if they get labeled as some organization that's harmful to a community or whatever, I mean, it's just going to die out so quick. Well,
and I think I've quoted it before, but I'll quote it again. Shout out to Groucho Marx from the Marx Brothers. If you know them, you're old school in cinema. But Groucho Marx said, I would never be part of a club that would have me as one of their members. You know, it's a great saying. It's like, even though they want me, it's not a club worth being in, because I got my, but it just, to me, that says, no matter what club you join or start, and no matter what your motive is, you're going to have humans join that, and it's going to get bigger and bigger. And whenever something scales that big, humans are both good and bad. There's some bad dudes that have the wrong intentions for joining something. Maybe they're just unhappy or depressed or angry. And those are, or maybe they're undercover. You know, those are people that will always ruin a movement. And it's kind of like, how do you prevent that? It's just like government. There's always going to be whenever you have a group of humans, you're going to have some bad apples.
Always. Especially if you have someone starting it, like this undercover cop, supposedly.
Yeah.
And, you know, but yeah, absolutely. And every culture, every single, you know, organization, you see that all the time. And it almost reminds me of like a gang mentality, you know, especially with like, you know, governments and whites and blacks and Latinos and Asians. You know, it's just, you know, there are their gangs, you know, officially whatever gangs would consider to be. But altogether, like the government's like a gang, right? And you know what, actually, I mean, we may have to change topics here, Jay, but it reminds me of this series that I've been watching and you've been watching, the Epstein documentary.
Filthy Rich.
Filthy Rich, right.
Yeah. Ooh, it's so good. Watch Filthy Rich.
It is. It's good. I liked it. And it's interesting, but it's that gang mentality, right? It's like, you know, we can get into it, but it's like the government creates like this relationship with Epstein's lawyers and they make a deal and it's like, dude, how does that happen?
Now, see, those are the guys that want racism to live, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they're up there having a good old time doing what the fuck they want, raping little girls, have properties all around the world, using intimidation, getting out of goddamn court cases that they shouldn't get out of. And if you haven't watched it yet, I suggest watching it, but there's going to be some spoiler alerts coming up, so beware.
There is indeed.
And if you want to save time, just listen to us talk about it. Summarize it. But it's just all about Jeffrey Epstein, the whole story. And
well, I don't know about the whole story, but it's a story.
Some vital pieces, but yeah, it's basically just like how he just, you know, would invite girls over for a massage and then have like a pyramid scheme. Have one, you know, he'd just be naked and try to fuck them or rape them, or they would just feel pressured into it. Give them $200 and be like, if you bring another girl, I'll give you 200 and her 200. And then that girl, if you get another girl, so just create this pyramid of girls.
How sad is that, dude?
It's crazy to think a man has everything he needs, and he's got his right hand woman. I forget her name. What's her name?
Ghislaine.
Yeah, Ghislaine, the British chick that's still missing to this day. Funny fact, Nick. You know, Epstein died. You know, a lot of stuff has happened, but she has not been heard from. And her last post was her in and out. And I believe this might be conspiracy theory. Oh, I picked the right button this time. But she had a book about the CIA that she was reading in this obviously purposed portrait of her in and out before she went missing. And this was after Epstein,
what the hell?
I think, got booked. So. And it's something about some corruption in the CIA. I've never read it, but I want to. And she's smirking at an In-N-Out in L.A., I think.
That's powerful.
Never been seen since. And she's suing the Epstein estate for some of his money.
What a crazy bitch.
Dude. And it was pretty slight. Well, first off, one of the girls, like that first called him out, the sisters.
Oh, right.
And she like went directly to the police and like they did nothing. You know, they looked into it and money beat that out. But like she would call her, that British chick would call her and be like, oh, we know where you jog. You shouldn't jog there because you could really get hurt. You might, you know, something might happen to you. And then she would change her name and go to this place. And then they'd find her every single time. There are private investigators following her all over.
Well, they hired a shitload of private investigators. That's what happened. I mean, Epstein had the money, man. And, you know, going back to these people that they love racism, right? And these billionaires, dude, they're profiting off of all this shit that me and you are arguing over and, you know, people arguing over Facebook and all this shit they're profiting over everything. All, you know.
Fox News wouldn't be as good without MSNBC or CNN, and MSNBC wouldn't be as good with Fox News. They need each other.
Right.
To build those crowds on those sides.
Totally do. But, you know, going back to Epstein's deal and what the fuck is her name? Ghislaine or something like that.
Yeah, we'll put it down below.
Crazy bitch, dude. Crazy bitch. And you know what? Again, this brings me to like a point where I don't have any relation. Like, I'm not a girl. I've never had anything like that happen to me.
Except Saturdays.
After
8 p.m.
But it's interesting that these girls would bring other girls. You know, like they talk about being in a situation where they don't know what's going on. They're scared. They're frightened. You know, sexual activity goes down. Then they leave and they feel threatened. But then they go back and then they bring someone to experience that.
Yeah, and it's and that's how he kind of got away with it. One, that pyramid scheme helped him, but also they just called them all hookers.
Yeah, that's
which
sad,
that got him out of court. But
that's so sad.
You know, it's the part of the series starts in Palm Beach, which is a very rich area in Florida. And across the bridge is West Palm Beach, which I went to a couple years ago. That's where my dad set sail on his boat.
Okay.
So, and it was kind of dangerous in the area he's in. Right. We're walking around like, holy shit, you got to keep your head on swivel and don't go out at night in certain areas, you know. And I didn't know Palm Beach was right there. I was confused by that area. But, you know, they would get these girls sometimes from poor families and horrible parents or drug issues. And of course, those girls are going to go back. They ain't going to go to McDonald's and get $200. But then, and they're also underage and they don't have a frontal cortex developed. Like, what are they thinking?
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
They're children. And
you know what I think mostly is Epstein's personality. And everyone talks about it. Even the guys that work for him, you know, even the guys that the guys said he should have fired him and never rehired him. It's like, he just has so much charisma, and he convinced me to do something I didn't even want to do. And this is the CEO of this company, right?
A very smart guy.
Very smart
That's
guy.
like head of a huge financial corporation. I forget the name, Goldstein Beers, or was it?
Something like that.
I forget, but like Goldstein Beers. I think that was a movie or something.
That was a cartoon. That was good.
Oh, yeah. That was the Mandela Effect cartoon.
Oh, man.
Dude, he didn't have all this. He didn't come from money, which is crazy. He's new money, which is even more absurd how he got billions of dollars. And then he, you know, this documentary is so interesting. You got to get all the details, but he just like kind of bamboozled his way into where he's at.
He sure did.
And it's crazy because you got blood right here, by the way.
Oh.
It's just a little bit. It's not bad.
Well, you know what that is, ladies and gentlemen? So I just posted a blog on my blog. Check it out, watertowerpodcast.com.
What's it called?
Watertowerpodcast.com. Also check out the YouTube. But I posted a blog about me using a straight razor. And I shaved today, and I sliced the shit out of my chin. Yeah, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. And it was not fun. So I'm going to have to step away and grab a napkin, but I'll be right back. All right, we're back. We were talking about me trying this new shaving endeavor, and it's called Getting Straight with Shaving, because I'm been using this straight razor, love it, but it's tricky, man, and it's kind of interesting taking this razor blade, you know, to your face. It's and this is what happens.
yeah, I just noticed she had a little blood there, and I was like, oh, I should probably tell him. I was like, let's keep going. Can't see it on the phone. And then I said, I better tell him. It might get all over his shirt or something. But
thanks, Jay.
But yeah, Epstein's documentary is nuts.
And that phone should be an A6600, by the way.
It's coming.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just he like worked at a high school, which is scary, first off.
Well, first of all, he didn't even have the credentials to work at this high school.
No, he
lied.
He jumped grades when he was studying in high school because he was so smart.
Right.
And then he somehow worked at this badass high school, I think.
Yeah.
Cooper or something.
Yeah, with no credentials.
No credentials.
And then he got fired from this school, then got hired at this company and lied about his credentials.
In New York. And they caught him.
And they kept him on. That's the guy that said he convinced them to keep him on.
They went to fire him, and he asked the CEO of that company, who was the guy that Jeffrey Epstein eventually got a bunch of money from. Strangely, I think he blackmailed him, which it seems like he did. But it seemed like that was his game: get you with some young girls, record you, do whatever he had to do, and then blackmail you to get out of jail, whatever.
Maybe
money. And so yeah, they said he don't have these degrees, and this guy said, man, this is a smart ass dude working in financial systems, and he goes, he just convinced me. He admitted it. Yeah, you know, I had to do it to get here, and I'm sorry. And started dating. I think even they said he dated the CEO's daughter.
Yeah, right.
Which is crazy. Yep. So who knows what blackmail he got there? Because in New York, his place apparently had cameras everywhere.
Dude, crazy, huh? The bathrooms.
Bill Clinton, you dirty dog.
Motherfuckers. Dude, and I think that's what I got out of the thing. Because after the second episode, I was already thinking, like, I was kind of just pissed watching this, right? Because, of course, I have kids, and it's just a fucking nasty situation, dude. But unfortunately, this is going on every single day. It's going on right now. Yep. And probably here in Sacramento, more than likely, too. I mean, it's going on everywhere. But the piece that I got out of it the most, and what I was doing this whole time, was just like, these motherfuckers. Like, even when they interview someone, like these attorneys or even some law enforcement, it's like, you know, they fucking lying. They took money, you know. Like, all these companies took money. But more so was everyone else. They don't talk about anyone else. They're talking about Epstein and how a dirty motherfucker he was. And then after he got caught, nobody wanted to affiliate with him no more. But before that, all these celebrities were with him.
Trump,
yeah,
Clinton,
yep, Chris Tucker,
but also like you're rich, you're gonna be going to parties and getting your pictures taken.
Well, of course.
You don't know who this guy is. He's just a guy that wants a picture, maybe. I don't know.
Well, true, and it could be nothing.
But Trump's quote, he kind of knew,
right? Yeah, Trump's quote, right?
It was Epstein's a great guy, and just like me, he likes women, young women.
Yeah,
I was
right.
like, whoa,
dude. Which is just disturbing. That's the leader of our country. Yeah,
and then Bill Clinton, too, a previous leader of the country, said he's never been to the island, and the worker literally said, "I've seen him," and Prince Andrew there grinding up on the girl, and Bill Clinton's like, "I've never been to that island," and then all these records come out on the plane, and you know what, Nick? I realized Bill Clinton's a liar, and I think he inhaled.
What?
I think he actually inhaled that one time. I believed him.
That son of a bitch. I believed him too.
Yeah, it's like. It's fucking scary, man. And think about that footage in there. What's still missed? That's why he's dead, right?
That's exactly why he's dead. He didn't fucking commit suicide.
He really did.
He's dead.
After watching that documentary, go, if he could do all this shit, get out of all this trouble back in 2005, because he was supposed to go to prison in 2005, and the lawyers just walked. They had witnesses, that everything, 30-something plus witnesses, and the lawyers got there early, and everyone's like, what's going on? And they just went up to the judge, had a little chit-chat, and peace.
Made a deal.
Peace.
Made a deal. Dude, they gave him a sentence of 18
Acosta,
months.
By the way, who was connected to Trump.
Yeah, right. Backed him. Trump backed. Oh, it's all connected, dude. But it was funny. He did a sentence of 18 months, but he was able to leave the jail for 12 hours a day.
Yeah, that's like some Escobar shit right there. That's some El Chapo stuff.
But dude, yeah, I mean, this guy. You think about what he did and what kind of a person he was, and the people that he affiliated with, and the documentary never says shit about anyone else. And I could almost bet that some of those girls told stories because, sitting in and making a documentary, you sit a person down and you get their entire story. So they cut out all kinds of shit, I bet. And dude, there's got to be stories of all these fucking people. Yeah, and I think we all kind of, I think everyone kind of assumed, maybe I'm wrong, that he died because of that. Like, he had to go because he had way too much information. And maybe he would freak out because he seemed fucked. Like, he was fucked. And he would squeal. He would.
Yeah, and maybe just squeal to get out because his life, once you're in prison, I'm sure it's horrible, especially that prison.
Oh, hell yeah.
And,
he knew too much.
What does Bill Clinton know? What does Prince Andrew know? What are they hiding?
What does Trump know?
What does Trump know? There's got to be a bunch of evidence everywhere. And so, man, I don't know, Nick. It's sad because he was just the tip of the iceberg, I think.
Oh, dude, absolutely. And he was nobody. I mean, he was just this man of mystery, right? And that's what was so, I think, intriguing about it. Nobody knew how he got his money. Nobody knew who the fuck he was. He kind of just kept to himself for the most part, but everybody loved him.
Where are those hard drives?
Right?
They said that mentioned in New York. I'm sure everywhere he had film, and that was his thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And yeah, there's got to be photos and videos of other celebrities. And dude, all those camcorders that were in every single room, there's got to be footage of Prince Andrew and all this shit.
Who knows who's been in there?
Exactly.
Can you imagine if you're like a celebrity, you get like, say you're like trying to be, I don't know, like a fucking comedian, you make it, you're like, yeah, you're partying in New York. They're like, oh, go to this dude Jeffrey's house. Like, cool, whatever. These bitches are here and you're there partying and then not even thinking about anything. And then this comes out and you're like, oh, fuck. How old was shit?
Did anybody see me there?
Fuck, I was just trying to do some coke, man. Fuck, of course.
Fucking Jeff.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. But sociopath that just had no limits and just didn't regret anything. Just a fucking lunatic, man. But I think it goes way deeper than that. I think that's what you think as well. And who knows who's connected. You hear about all these fucking celebrity rings. Pizzagate, remember Pizzagate?
Which is, I think, has been disproven, right?
Well, right. I mean, but who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows, right? Hillary Clinton being tied to, child kidnapping. And, I mean, just so much, dude. One time I went to Minneapolis, actually, of all fucking places right now. And I went to a Nobel Peace Prize forum. And the Peace Prize laureate was a guy who was trying to solve child trafficking. And he saved a bunch of kids, created a foundation, and that's why he got the Nobel Peace Prize. But anyways, it was panels just talking, and it was super cool, man. It was like panels of CEOs of hotels, chains, CEOs of companies, manufacturers, ports, and Uber CEOs, and all these CEOs that got together on this panel talking about what they can do to prevent child trafficking, right? It's training your employees. If they see this, they do this. If they don't be quiet about that, which was just amazing, dude, that this guy was able to get all these people together and talk about solving the issue. Because that's what you do, right? You want to create change. That's how you create change. But one of the guys came up and we were at the Mall of America, which is, one of the biggest malls in the country. And he said there's probably hundreds of kids being trafficked right now this mall right this very second.
Well, it's like, I think 800,000 kids go missing a year. A lot of them have to do with relatives or something, but that's a large number a year. In the most successful country to ever exist ever.
Right?
Roman Empire who?
Right?
And
First world country, third world problems?
Well, a documentary, sorry to bust out my cell phone, but I just wanted to get the name right because this documentary really shook me. I want to say it's called Where's Johnny? And it used to be on Netflix. I don't know if it still is. I've seen it years ago. But that's when I really started, because I didn't really think kids were going missing. Maybe here and there, but I really didn't think there was rings. And it was just a conspiracy theory. But, of course, they show me like some gay bar. Where's Johnny? Here's my Johnny.
Hey, well, while you're looking for that, it's interesting that how they victimize these kids, man. How they make them seem like they're the criminals.
Yeah, and well, yes. So that's exactly what happens in this documentary. It's called "Who Took Johnny," and it's basically about a paper boy in Iowa. He was one of the first kids. This was, I don't know what year it was. It was back in the day, and he was the first kid. This is how old school it is. He was the first kid to be put on a milk carton. He started that trend.
Oh wow!
So he went missing just on his paper route in the morning in suburbia, USA, and apparently some witness said they thought I saw a car pull over and talk to him. Anyway, he went missing. The mom fought the police. The police were like, hey, we've searched. We don't know what else to do. She just was one of those people who wasn't going to give up till the day she died. And one day out of the blue, she gets a knock at the door. And this guy's there with another person. And he says, I'm your son. I'm Johnny. Can I come in? Comes in and just explains, like, I can't tell you everything, but there's a ring, and what they do is when we get older, they get us to start doing it and record us. So then we're guilty. So then we're scared. They get us addicted to drugs. We start recruiting kids. We start kidnapping kids ourselves. So then we're all guilty, and it's kind of like what Epstein did with these girls. And
exactly what he did.
And it's sickening. And then he just bolted. Like he's like, oh mom, I got to go later. She's like, no, and she just never seen her again. And this documentary was shaky to your core because it really opened your eyes. And they have a guy on there who's like, I know him, and they show pictures of kids tied up on beds. That's back in the day that, they didn't have internet really. They would just pass photos, and it's sickening when you see a bunch of kids tied up next to each other on a bed. Like, what the fuck? And these guys would go through catalogs, and he said, there's this place in Colorado in the middle of nowhere. Governors have been there, important people are there. They keep us underground. This guy's all drugged down, like, shut the fuck up, dude. You're a loser. And he goes, I got to take you there. And they go, like, cross country to this place. And they go to this old house. Doesn't look like nothing. And they're like, just take it. He just went to some random house in the middle of the desert. And sure enough, they look underneath the house. And there's tunnels, like dirt tunnels. And he goes, they'd keep us there. And then they'd have all these guys there. And we'd come upstairs and
that's
do whatever.
So disturbing, man.
And it's like, man, if I have kids, like, how am I not going to be a helicopter dad?
Dude, totally. And it's fucking huge, and it's real, and it's happening fucking everywhere, dude. And people are getting away with it like crazy. I mean, if Epstein can get away with it, think about all these celebrities and fucking real estate moguls and politicians who are getting away with so much fucking nasty shit, dude.
And think about Jeffrey Epstein in other countries. He could do that in America.
Right.
What can he do in Vietnam? There's been plenty of people busted in like Thailand with little kids and Americans especially. They just buy their way through.
Oh, dude, totally. And you know what it makes me think also? Just imagine how many girls aren't able to tell their story.
Yeah.
That are probably dead somewhere.
Yep.
Fuck, dude, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's a scary situation, and it's man, it's a real thing. It definitely seems like a real thing.
And you know what's crazy, Jay? Here's the crazy part too is these motherfuckers have so much power that they had him killed immediately. They automatically knew as soon as they made that sentence, he's not coming out of jail. They knew they lost, and they had already figured it out. CEOs or whoever's getting paid, probably $1 million to make sure that he doesn't walk out of that cell.
Oh,
and they're powerful like that, cause they orchestrate that shit all the time. Crazy.
I think that's the scariest thing is pissing off a rich guy. You know,
right?
Holy crap! Especially if because they just donate to the police force.
Exactly. Is
the police gonna arrest them?
Colleges, universities,
hospitals, court case, cities, and build hospitals. That would be the scariest position to be in.
Well, and you know what? Afterwards, I did take one more thing out of this, and it's money. It was all about money. The whole thing was about money. Epstein gets away with all this shit because he's a billionaire. He hangs out with other billionaires and trillionaires. These girls went and did that because they wanted a few $100. They kept doing it because it was just income that they wouldn't get anywhere else. It's all about fucking money, dude. The capitalist system, the fucking dollar, almighty dollar, Jay.
Yeah, I'm honestly not against the capitalist system. I obviously see a lot of errors in it, but it is as we know it, probably, in my opinion, one of the best systems to have been developed that has been tested. It's hard to find other.
I hate capitalism, Jay. Sorry.
Yeah, well, we disagree. Because tell me a government in the world that has a system that is running better than capitalism at this moment.
Well, and you would have to define better, right? And we get back to that better, worse, good,
Dave
bad,
Chappelle,
right? And I think it's just a matter of why not be a poster child, right? Why not try to create something that's neither one of either of those? It's not a capitalist. It's not a socialist. It's not a communist. It's just whatever the fuck it is. It's just a mixture of all that shit. Because, yes, we have to make money. We have to build. We got to people to work. We got to have infrastructure. We got to have safe roads. We got to have all this shit. But at the same time, we got to tie that in with the, fairly equal distribution of wealth of some sort.
Well, yeah, and I was a huge fan of UBI, but I think UBI could exist in capitalism, and there could be a bunch of shades of capitalism, but I do think competition brings out excellence in sports or business, and yes, it could get cutthroat and dangerous, but at the same time, it's like, what's the best motivation than to be like, hey, Nick, how far can you go? How far can you go? But then it gets scary. What is life, at that point? So I get what you're saying. And I was Andrew Yang supporter. When he dropped out, I voted for Bernie. He had a different view of with his socialism and social democracy. And I didn't say that right. What was it?
That's not my bag of tea, Jay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You don't do politics, but he's a socialist basically. But he had a version of it that was more capitalist or democratic. But the people that hated him focused on the social word. But he believed in redispersing the wealth to people, kind of like Europe does with healthcare and situations of college.
Right.
You could get paid in certain parts of Europe to go to college, why some of us die in debt. But it's interesting.
I'm drinking fucking Foster's, Jay.
Foster's. We're sponsored by Foster's. They gave us $100,000 to this commercial.
Thank you, Foster's.
And are probably going to sue us right now. Coors Light gave us $5. Shout out to Coors. They said, wait, there's a Mexican on your show? No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Coors is not
give
racist.
Give him Foster's.
Yeah, give him some bullshit. They don't have Foster's in Australia?
Yeah, that's fucking so ironic.
I went there and wanted Foster's. Like, you dumb shit, American. You guys always say that. There's a Foster's company. They don't have Foster's beer. No.
Oh, that's so funny.
Australian for beer.
Yeah, dude. Remember those commercials? Oh, my goodness. But yeah, going back to the whole capitalist thing, there was a book that I read. What the fuck is it called? I don't even know what it's called. But it's basically about...
Wait. Is it a Snowden book? Because that'd be 4 for 4.
We should have. No, we're going to talk about... Well, we just mentioned it, so there we go. 4 for 4.
Sorry.
No, this one's actually a... what the hell is it called? I forgot what it's called, but the whole concept is cautious capitalism.
Okay.
And it's basically the founder of Whole Foods, I believe. Whole Foods. Or Trader Joe's, one of those. He basically develops this concept. Well, I mean, he didn't really develop it, but he's pushing it. Is we can still run a capitalist society and still make money and still make a lot of money, but be cautious about it. And it's the whole green, eco-friendly, we can still make money off of that. But why can't we make money and still save the planet at the same time?
Oh, yeah. And you're not making money without a planet. Unless Elon Musk is in space somewhere with the billionaires. But
soon enough.
But, let's talk about SpaceX, man. Capitalism, ooh. I think Elon Musk is a beautiful thing that has... I don't know if you're the biggest Elon Musk fan. I'm a huge fan.
I love Elon, yeah.
But he is a product of capitalism, in my opinion. 100%.
He's in there like swimwear, Jay.
And he's a guy that also could make a different, like swimwear. He's also a guy that could make like a different type of government because he obviously thinks outside the box.
Oh, he totally does. And actually, dude, I think I mentioned this last time. A big Elon fan too, but he's surprising me recently. I mean, it seems like he's swaying towards the right, which is kind of scary.
Well, and that doesn't bother me. I don't have a problem with the right, to be honest with you. Like, I don't join the group of the right to the bad side. Both sides are fucked. That's how I feel.
Well, yeah, right.
I got 2 fingers for both of your sides, motherfuckers. None of your virtual signaling or toughness is gonna like.
I have to agree with you, Jay.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, I hate when people are against the left or the right. It's like you guys are doing exactly what they want you to be. The left would love you to be on the right. The right would love you to be on the left, as long as they got some people too to argue with you.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Ratings.
Right. Dude, I totally agree. And it's just, I don't know. I guess I say that because he is such a powerful man. Not only is he rich, he is just capable of some crazy shit, like sending fucking humans to space again.
Yeah.
So, in a far right-leaning society, I mean, that can easily mean a certain group of people go to space. Or, you know what I mean? Like, it could be like an elite thing where... the Earth is being devastated and the elite go to another planet while everyone stays here.
So you're scared he's just going to take the Trump family up to space and we're all going to die with Joe Biden as our leader?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Well, Nick, would you care if he went to? Would you care if Elon Musk was always conservative, and recent he started jumping to the left for certain reasons because the left was in charge. Would you care? You probably wouldn't, right?
Well, that's a good point. Who knows? I probably would, because I don't agree with the far left either. So, but I don't know. It was just interesting to me, and I don't think it's that I care where he's at. It's just interesting to see what's happening right now.
Well, and I believe at first I heard it and I go, well, I'm kind of for opening up too. I see both sides. Like, you got to be safe. I wear a mask and I get shit for some people, but I'm at the same time, I'm like, some people should be allowed to roll the dice with this disease when their livelihood is going down the drain and they're never going to survive this financially. And that's how I believe. Like, it's this weird. I see both sides of the argument, but I was like, yeah, whatever. He's like wants to open up because he wants to push humanity as far as he can before he croaks. And he's doing it with Tesla. There's a Cybertruck. I saw Jay Leno did a little test drive in the tunnel. Like, he's got the tunnel going on, like under LA. Like, he's just a guy who, it makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. Elon Musk going to the right didn't bother me. But when I heard how much money the government gave to SpaceX or NASA, the government funded so much money, I was like, Elon Musk is not a guy who chose one party to get to where he's at today. Smart people understand the system, and they understand how to use the system to their advantage. Right. If Trump's going to give me money and I could put out a red pill tweet and I could get humans into space, fuck it. That's what I'm put here on this earth to do. You got to deal with these bastards and deal with the bullshit and the red tape and the bureaucracies. But hey, he's getting it done. 12 years, Nick. 12 years.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. You have to go with that, because why the fuck wouldn't you? If that's what you really want to get done, you need to manipulate the system. And I think Elon's so smart, and I think you mentioned last time too, he has manufacturing companies in China that he's been surveying, and no one's died at his factories, no one's got sick, and it's been very maintained. So I think he almost had an inside scoop as to what was really going on. Not the inside scoop, but I think he just saw it more clearly. And not that I totally agree with them, but it was blown out of proportion, man. I mean, it got too far, and maybe a little too far to pull back. And I wear my mask too. I jump in my Uber, I have my mask on for sure. I ain't touching handles and stuff like that. Yeah. I don't want to risk it, but at the same time, I agree. It's we need to make money. It's especially the people that aren't getting these fat PPE loans and these emergency loans and shit. And I didn't get one as a business owner, and I know a lot of business owners that didn't get them. So a lot of people are hurting, man. So I see both sides too, but it's gonna be tough, man. It's and I've been hearing a lot of the non-planning of the winter season, which is gonna be scary.
Yeah, second wave probably, and it's going to be weird if we have to go back. They're going to open up, and we got to go back in our homes, and all of it was for nothing. Right. But there's a flu out there, and we got to get used to it. Like, there's a flu out there where I don't think, honestly, if I had to go one way or the other, I kind of like stay in middle. Let's watch Florida, see what happens. Guinea pigs.
You right?
Shout out to Florida being the guinea pigs. But, you know, yeah, you guys are the best. But, you know, we need those people to push limits. And Elon Musk is a guy that doesn't take no for an answer. He would have never been part of PayPal. He would have never created these different companies. If you're a guy that takes no for an answer, you're not sending people to fucking space.
That's right.
And that's the Dana Whites, the Elon Musk, and whether you call them right or left, the right tend to be a little more bold, in my opinion, in certain things, like a little more like fuck it. But like, damn, at the end of the day, if you want to get something done, you could build a bunch of barriers, and it could be something as easy as I don't have enough money for gas to get to point A to point B. I got to get a car. I got to get a van. Or it could be like, I got to get around this politics bullshit. How do I use these guys? How do I get to space?
Right.
Do I go right? Do I go left? Do I do a mix? Do I go
Where's
middle?
the money at?
Fuck, like, well, money, but I don't think Elon Musk is doing it for money. He's had money.
No, but he has to find the money.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what he's thinking.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Getting the funding, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, man, those guys excite me. And I'm glad, because imagine before Elon Musk, we didn't really have a guy. We had a couple guys, but we didn't really have like the Howard Hughes, the big guys. And we have one. And not only that, see how cool those space outfits were, bro? They're dope. He spent like 3-4 years, he said.
Yeah, dude, he designed them off of actual superhero spacesuits.
Yeah.
Dude, that's fucking awesome. And that's what kind of guy he is. You know, his Teslas do stupid shit that doesn't even fucking matter. Like, they dance to like orchestra and shit. Like if you play a certain orchestra song, it like dances and shit. Well, he said that on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Okay.
Like, why the fuck would you do that? Like, who the fuck cares? But that's who he is. Like, he's just
flamethrowers.
Cool. Like, yeah, flamethrowers.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Those people are great, because when we're kids, we love those guys. When we get older, we feel like they're stupid.
Well,
but
dude,
like,
automatically, I told, I sent my wife a message and was like, hey, make sure the kids watch this, because they're out of town right now.
Our parents probably watched the 60s flights.
My parents probably didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't know if my mom did, but I know that what the age would match up, or they were young kids when that was happening.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah,
they sure
so
would've.
your kids gotta watch it.
Well, dude, that's just so fucking historic,
Yeah.
And it's just amazing that it's happened. Well, it didn't happen, and I'm so glad, because I would have missed it. So I'm looking forward to what's gonna happen tomorrow, which would have already passed. So hopefully something cool happened. Yeah,
and it's man, it made me kind of proud to be American, which I'm not that guy. Like I said, I don't like being part of groups. I want to be part of clubs, but like, I'm not very patriotic, like I do see the good and the bad, and,
sure.
and I disagree with wars, but I support the troops. And it's a weird gray situation for me, always back and forth. But I was like, hell yeah, bitches, we back.
Right?
And they played AC/DC's Back in Black.
Oh, did they?
When the astronauts was playing it.
Oh, dude, I need to watch that.
Like, yeah.
But how do we compare to other countries? Do you know? As far as
space?
In space.
Well, I think, so Russia's basically running the shit, like,
okay.
The space station, I believe, and then we work with them. And then I believe China has been shooting some rockets into space. I think they've actually sent people, and I believe India has been catching up as well. They've sent a couple rockets. Not 100% sure on those facts, but yeah.
But you see, this is where I stand. We should be investing so much more money and shit like that. Cool shit, science,
Yeah.
And not our military. I know we need to have a good military, but do we fucking expend so much fucking money on military? It's insane.
It's like I don't know. There's like some crazy stats, like you put like for the top other countries, it still doesn't compete. But yeah, I've been a big look. A military is important, because guess what? There's some mean motherfucker
wants to kick your ass,
and especially with America's history, some people out to get you. So
right now,
we're too deep to go back now, man. But at the same time, it's like, man, like, are we tracking those numbers? Whose pocket are those going into? Because the VA, from the few VA experiences I've had, are shit. I guess it depends where you are, but
I've always heard that.
Yeah, and I believe troops should be taken care of.
Absolutely.
I have military people in my family, my brother, my cousin, and the stuff they go through, the stuff they've seen as a young man, and that will forever be with them till the day they die. To me, they deserve the better care than I get, no matter what my job is. That's how I feel at the end of the day. I don't care if I'm Jeffrey Epstein. They deserve better care.
Totally opposite of that. It turns out to be total opposite. It's hard for them to get money. It's hard for them to get placed in jobs. It's hard for them to get their schooling.
Homelessness.
Yeah. It's like
PTSD.
Can't get their medication.
Suicide.
Oh, dude.
It's gross.
It is gross. It's unfortunate, man. And so that's why I say, I mean, we spend way too much money on this when we should be really, dude, going to space. How fucking cool is that, Jay?
It's super cool. And they, you know, they got rid of it for that reason, the money reason. Like, we're investing all this money and we're just bringing back some stupid.
You think that was the reason, though?
Yeah, I really do. We just bring back some stupid ass rocks. Fucking stupid. It's a waste of money. And then, you know, Elon Musk convinced him, like, we got to do this. And, you know, Neil deGrasse Tyson's a big supporter of it.
Dude. Oh, of course.
Like, you know, and it's all our flat earthers are going to hate us. But
well, dude, the Apollo missions.
Wait. Are we going there?
The Apollo missions.
Conspiracies. I don't know.
We're scheduled at 21, right? It was scheduled to launch 21 trips to space.
Yeah.
They stopped at what, 16, 17?
Well, I think Tom Hanks was on 13.
Yeah. I love it.
Apollo 13.
And there's been people that have said, you know, they stopped because they didn't stop. They just stopped reporting that they went.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right? So it's like, what did they find up there? What are they doing up there now? And what happened to the other, 6 missions?
Yeah, who really knows, right? Like, at the end of the day, you're not going to be there watching with your own eyes. But you know, one of my dreams, I'm an adrenaline junkie, but I always said the ultimate adrenaline, besides being eaten by a shark, is like
fucking white people.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's like it's going up an elevator that high and then walking a little bridge and then sitting on top of a motherfucking rocket full of fuel, just ready to blast off, and you're fucking shaking. They got you strapped in, and you're like, this is like a small club I'm a part of, and the chances of me dying is absurd. Like, this is crazy. What the fuck? Like, dude.
How amazing is that, Jay?
I'm excited just talking about it.
Dude.
I want to do it.
Oh, dude, I would love to do that. And I think that's why I want my kids to get into it, because I would love for my kids to get into that shit, you know? And you know what's funny is that there was a select few people. There was like, they opened up applications, right, to get into the space program. And there was like, I don't know, 400 or 4,000 people that applied, and they narrowed it down to 17 people that actually got into the academy.
Oh, yeah.
And there was one of them was a Mexican guy.
Nice.
And it's like, dude, fuck yeah, dude. If my kids can see that and see a Mexican going into the space program, that means they can do it. Right?
Yeah, you need those people.
You need those people, dude. And so this is I love it, man. I get geeked out about this space shit.
And it's crazy. I've talked to people like, wait, what's SpaceX? I'm like, you son of a bitch. Like, I don't know all the details, but like they shot these rockets, and the thing is, rockets are so expensive and so wasteful. We just get rid of the fuel, and it's so much money. So Elon Musk is like, well, how do we fix that? You know, I like people like that. How do we fix that?
Right.
So you got it where they go up and then land, which is, even watching it doesn't look real, in the middle of the ocean. So he saves all this money. That's how he's able to do it. And I think this last rocket that failed to go because of the weather, it was like, it was going to be good for so many number of trips. I forget the number, but like, dude, that's where they save all the money, and they convince the government to fund it.
Fuck yeah. And that's innovation. That's technology, man. Yeah, I remember that he was getting a lot of flack because they're saying, well, why are you going to reuse parts? Like, that's just stupid. It's like, why the fuck you not going to reuse shit? If it's still good, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, fly an airplane once commercially and then be like, all right, just scrap it. Send it to space. It's trash.
Stupid.
Yeah.
But dude, so I mean, I get so geeked out about it, like I said, and it's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting time, and the rocket looks cool, the suits look cool. He has fun with it, and you know, in design, I'm a designer by trade, but in graphic design, web design, but in design, teachers typically tell you, I went to the Academy of Art of San Francisco. It's a really good school. Really expensive too, corrupt. But anyways, speaking of money, but money and corruption.
Big business, Jay.
They own like 40% of the buildings in San Francisco. They became basically a real estate agent off tuition. Yeah, look it up. A lot of crazy lawsuits. But anyways,
like Trump University.
Yeah, maybe. But they very left actually. Maybe a Clinton University. But they you know, preach, like in design, you go up and you get your designs ripped up, and you just got to grow thick skin or quit, because that's just how it is. And I've been working in the field for 7-8 years now, and it's the same way. To Monday morning, I get ripped up. Just, you know, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it just happens sometimes that your work's going to get ripped up, and it's
tech life, man.
And that's just it. And it's not just tech life; it's art life, you know, and design life. Like shit, like you should be your worst critic, but it happens. But they say, like, why'd you design that? And your answer should never be, because it's cool and awesome. But sometimes, Nick, I design shit because it's cool and awesome. And I get it doesn't fit in the corporate world, but I do it just because I love it. I mean, there's a fucking trailer right here that I think is cool and awesome.
Fuck yeah.
And that's where I picture myself retiring in Arizona or something. I don't know. Away from, nice. With a rifle, and that's
right
it.
Right next to Area 51?
Yeah. But it's, yeah, exactly. But it's sometimes you should do it because it's cool, fun. And Jay Leno, when he was in that Cybertruck with Elon Musk, he's like, "How'd you get this glass? It's at a weird angle." And he's like, "This isn't regular glass." Like, no, actually, that's like reinforced, bulletproof glass we created. And he's like, "Why would you need that in your car?" He's like, "Because it's cool and badass." And I was like, "Yes, exactly." Oh, you dumb teachers! Sometimes shit's just fucking cool and badass.
You got to run with it.
Damn.
Roll the dice, goddammit.
I love it.
But at the same time, it's got to be affordable. And that's why the G-Wagon, for instance, like my Mercedes, came stock with bulletproof windows.
Really?
But like nobody needs that shit so that, somebody can save $10,000 by getting the one with non-bulletproof windows, right?
Yeah, true.